Want to give a bit of a disclaimer. This vlog started off as just like a really silly, goofy vlog. Then it kind of got serious. So just kind of like a content warning. I don't talk about anything I don't think that would be extremely triggering to anybody, but I am talking about my experiences at the end of this vlog with being followed home and being followed in the workplace and just kind of like experiences that were frightening to me. So if that's something that might disturb you, then you might want to switch off the vlog once I get to the part about going to my workout. Wanted to give you a little heads up. For those of you that have been following along, as I'm getting ready to hit the big 4-0, I have been trying to add some more color to my outfits, you know, liven things up a bit, get away from all the gray and black and boring clothes I normally would wear. So I put on this really bright outfit, one of my bright necklaces. I'm getting ready for work. Kind of trying to decide between the shoes here. So this one has some height to it. It's Madden Girl, which helps because I'm short and these jeans are long. So that's kind of like the look. But then I also love wearing my retro Coach tennis shoes, and those are like cute and fun too. I don't know which one should I go with. I wish this was live so you could tell me. I should have thought to do this before, but I'm always just running out the door throwing together an outfit, and I really don't know what I'm going to wear until 10 minutes before I leave. I gotta get better at this, so I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards the Madden Girl just for the height, because I feel like this is going to get my jeans all over the ground. I need to get them hemmed probably. So I'm going to go with the Madden Girl, and I will touch base with you all later. I always switch into my workout clothes before I leave the college after I'm done teaching, but I don't want to take off my wig because then the students will like see me leave the classroom one way and then come out without my wig on as I'm going to my car in my athletic gear. So I basically change my clothes and I don't switch out my hair until I get here to the parking garage and watch my students find my channel. It's my name. Somebody's bound to find it, right? So this is what I do. I take a quick peek around to make sure nobody's around, and then I kind of like quickly loosen up my wig, and then I just do a little bloop. Should show you. Hold on, where did it just go? Oh no. Okay, this is literally the best one ever. It's so thin, and then it has like the lace front in the front and down the middle for your part. This never comes off, and it adjusts with this clear string. All the other ones I used to use that like Velcro, they were so thick they would like push your wig up, like bump it up a little bit. I need a new wig, let's just admit it. My little cheap $20 Amazon wigs. All right, but I hate having to like pluck them and everything because I buy cheap wigs. I have to, you know, do it all myself with like the plucking, cutting the lace, and using my makeup concealer to get the lace the same color as my skin. Okay, so then I brought my little baggie. Oh, here comes somebody. But my hair is already off, so he doesn't know what I'm doing. So I'm basically just taking out, I can't believe I'm sharing this with you all. I guess I'm like, my lack of sleep is making me a bit delirious. Here comes another guy. Okay, he's just moving along. Nobody's paying attention. Nobody has any idea what I'm doing. Taking out all these bobby pins. Oh God, he's in the car right in front of me. Good thing I already took the wig off. Okay, so we're gonna take these out. I did these horrible braids. Like, please don't judge my braiding skills. I actually do know how to braid. I used to do that when I was younger, but I just did not have the patience. But yeah, this is not indicative. Probably already just put on screen to show you that I actually do know how to do hair properly. So I kind of shake it out, and I think I might have forgot my rubber band. I'm gonna go on a little hunt here. Oh, fail me now, car junk area. Oh, I found one. Yay! Dun, 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 dun. Okay, sorry, I had to get myself together. I just tied it up there. I take my little air horn. I need some mace, but hey, it's something, right? Just like blast out your eardrums in case any little creepers are around. I don't know. I'm a girl. I was raised that way. Don't park next to kidnapping vans, the big utility vans with no windows. Always check all around your car to make sure that nobody's out there. Walk in pairs. Don't go alone to the bathroom in the club. Like, don't drink drinks out because you don't know if people put anything in them, you know, just all the safety things. How many of y'all were taught, like, you know, walk with the keys in your hand? I'm just hyper aware of all of these things. I've lived in so many different places, and it's probably for another day, another story time. Maybe I'll tell y'all about it tomorrow because I have to get in there by a certain time because they close and I have to get my workout in. But yeah, back in college, I was actually followed home by somebody, and then I also had another person at my job that was, I don't know how to explain, was it stalking me at my job, and then had a really scary encounter with him outside of the workplace after he was fired because of some of the stuff he was doing. So yeah, I'll try to remember to tell you those story times tomorrow. All right, I gotta go. I know I look a little like, I just got out of the gym, but I wasn't going to come on here. I was going to tell you my little story time tomorrow. But of course, because I was talking about safety, something just happened while I was out there. Thankfully, it was nothing serious, but I was out on the corner getting ready to cross the street, and I hear someone singing, I think it's UCB Sexy Lady. And I'm thinking like, okay, maybe somebody's just singing or whatever, but I hear it like getting closer, and I'm like glancing over my shoulder, and it's definitely a guy coming up behind me. So I step to the side and try to move as far away over as I can. And he keeps coming up and like turning and looking over his shoulder, and then made sure to stare me in my face, and then kept walking across the street. I waited, even though the light had turned, because I didn't want to start walking across the crosswalk with him. And then another woman starts coming towards me, and he starts walking past her, giving her the glance, you know, and I'm just like, you know, I kind of tried to walk as slow as possible to make sure that he like maintained going straight ahead down the direction I wasn't going, and I quickly made a turn, made sure he wasn't following me. And I know some people may be like, oh, that's not a big deal, or that's a compliment. But when you've had some of the experiences I've had, like being followed home to my home, having somebody literally look at what I was washing at a laundromat in college, and then making the observation, oh, you must live off campus because you have a lot of rugs. I was like, and that's really creepy that you are literally looking at my laundry to try to figure out where I live. Okay, I guess we're just talking about it now. When you've had those types of experiences, things that other people might think are really small or not a big deal, you are always thinking like how far this might go. So for example, when somebody is angry, if you don't return interest, right? And it goes from calling out, you know, beautiful, this, that, the other, to curse words. It got to the point where I was so jumpy in college because every time I went out, someone was making comments, and it wasn't just me, it was the area that I lived in. That was very common for men to just catcall constantly, just make comments. When there's like 3 of you and I'm by myself, it's terrifying to walk by you to try to get to my car, you know, when all of you are like calling out and saying things and making comments. The follow me home story. So basically, I got home one day, I pull into my parking spot, and I see this car back in behind me. Like, so if I tried to reverse out, I can't. So I get out, the guy starts like, oh, you got a boyfriend, oh, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, oh, really? Da, 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 da. Oh, you never seen me at school. I've seen you at school. And now I'm like on high alert thinking, oh my gosh, how long has this guy been watching me? What is he talking about? I don't recognize him. Now he knows where I go to school. He knows where I live. He knows all these things. So I like get into my building as fast as possible. And I had a neighbor on the ground floor. He had always told me like, hey, if you ever need anything, just like stomp on the ceiling, like if something's wrong or this or that. But he wasn't home, he was at work. And then I had another neighbor, I knocked on his door, and I'm like, did you just see that guy or like the car or anything? Because I hadn't had enough time to try to like get the license plate or anything. He's like, no. That definitely freaked me out. The guy at my job, he was in one cohort, me and some friends were in another cohort, and he comes in and he starts to just kind of stare at a couple of us, like follow us kind of around. Like if we're in the hallway, he stops and he's just like watching every move you make. Well, everyone started to notice that when we would go to the lunchroom, he would always maintain like a, was it sight of vision line? I don't know what it's called. He would always make sure he had like a direct I was in his like eye line of sight. I can't think what it's called, y'all. It's so late. That he could like directly see me. So it was so noticeable that my friends would get up and move and block his sight so that he couldn't stare at me, and he would get up and move until he had like a direct, view to stare at me. And this went on and on, and it was so uncomfortable. I hated going to the lunch area, and it was really the only place you could eat lunch on the like campus. So finally I was so sick and tired of it. He was always like writing, that I just went up to him one time. I'm like, oh, what are you writing? Or, oh, what are you doing, or something. I'm trying to get information. He's been in the military. He knows how to use weapons. He's been in combat. I'm starting to like get little pieces of information that are a little bit frightening to me. And he said, you know what I'm writing about? And I was like, well, how would I know what you're writing about? I don't know you. I just met you. And he's like, oh, well, read it. And so I'm reading this poem, and it's about watching someone, like watching you. And then I get done reading it, and I knew like in everything in me that poem was about me. And I was terrified. And he's like, oh, so you know who it's about? I was like, no, how would I know that? And he's like, it's about you. And I don't know if he thought I was supposed to be flattered, but I was terrified. So he ended up, I don't know what happened. People were saying there were rumors he had an outburst or this or that. And then he came back onto the campus, and they like locked down. They had all this security. So we're thinking, oh my gosh, what is going on? Come to find out, he just owed someone money and was like dropping the money off. But they thought this was some type of like, this was around the time when some people that had been fired in different workplaces were coming in, bringing weapons and harming people. And so, then he's gone. It's been a while, not really thinking about him. And I used to go to poetry open mics and perform and stuff. So I'm out at one of my favorite open mics. I had gone by myself. I knew the host, and all of a sudden, guess who I see? Yep. I see the guy from work. He gets up and he starts performing a song. The intensity, the only type of intensity I could think of is like a really angry rapper like Eminem. He's just like angry. He starts directing everything at me. Starts making comments about, oh, with your face in your hand, because I was kind of like leaning like this because I'm thinking, oh my gosh. And I was like waiting for friends to arrive. Nobody's there yet. He's coming over and he's kind of in my face, and nobody else knows what's going on except me. I know he's directing this at me, and I'm thinking like, what did I do? I did not do anything to you. You were like stalking me at work, writing these creepy poems. I don't know why you got fired, and now you're like, freestyling this mean song to me. So he gets done, and I just knew I had to get out of there. So I go up to the host and I tell him, and he's all like, seems cool with him, and like, yeah, good job. Da, da, da. I'm like, look, you got to help me get out of here. And he's like, what's going on? And thankfully the host was like a pretty good sized guy. And I said, some things happened at work. He was kind of following me around. He was, I don't know why he's not at our job anymore. That song he just did was directed at me. He's like, oh, okay. So he's like, yeah. Let me walk you out. So he got me to my car, and I basically could never go back because I'm like, now he knows where I hang out. He can follow me home. So it kind of, yeah. It sucked because that was one thing I really enjoyed doing, and I had like a little community, and I just knew it wasn't safe to go back anymore to, it just wasn't worth it. So I have other stories, but those are probably the two that really changed the way that I thought about things. Oh, and the laundry guy. That was a whole ordeal too. But I was so jumpy all the time from just, constant like harassment, getting off work, trying to go in a grocery store. And, I just want to get milk. If I don't respond how they like, now I'm being cussed out and I'm being yelled at in the parking lot. And I'm just like, I just want to go home. So it was really exhausting. And when I moved from that area, it was just like, oh, thank God. It was just so peaceful. And like I said, it wasn't just me. It was everyone, my roommate. It didn't matter who you were. It was just kind of like how, you know, different areas have different norms, and that was just like a norm in the area for guys to just nonstop like say whatever came to their head to women. I started to like, don't drive the same way home, make sure you're looking in your rear view, don't have the same patterns every day, you know, leave at a little different time and go a different way, and just all sorts of stuff. You know, I didn't go, like, there was plenty of places to walk or run around my neighborhood. I didn't do that. Yeah, I mean, the area too that I lived in was a little bit dangerous. I don't even know if you can say this on YouTube. Okay, I'm gonna have to edit. I probably just edited out a lot of stuff I said. So there were people that were found in cars, if you catch my drift. There were home invasions. There were weapons that had been stolen out of people's homes, and somebody had allowed a friend to stay with them, and that friend was robbing all the houses and had amassed like all these weapons from like military folks and other folks. Just a lot of, you know, stuff that was going on, that you had to be really careful. But thankfully I never had anything serious happen, but yeah, so I probably shouldn't be sitting here telling you guys all this. I need to get home. Be safe. Please be safe. I didn't even anticipate shooting a vlog today because I have so much material. I have next 4 videos ready for you all. But yeah, it just like, after that experience, it just brought back all of these thoughts, and I was even honestly a little freaked out when I got home. Like, should I share this stuff? Like, what if this guy sees it? And even though it's been like decades, you know, I don't know. I was just kind of thinking, so I might end up omitting more than I originally had in there, just to kind of change up some things so it's not so obvious. But that's the type of fear that like it can instill in people, you know, is to the point where it can be 20, 30 years later and you're still thinking like, oh my gosh, what if this person saw this? I don't want them to be fixated on me. I don't, you know. So as I was mentioning, just really be careful. If you see somebody that looks like they're in a situation and there's something you can do about it, like, please do. Just like the host did for me. We used to have security when I worked at JCPenney, and oh gosh, who was it? Leon, and oh, I'm blanking on your name, but thank you for always making sure we got safely to our cars. It's sad that we need that, but we do. And there's so many strategies that we just grow up learning. It was so normalized that I didn't even think about like all the things you do to try to be safe. I don't go out after a certain time just because I feel like it's more unsafe, or I won't go certain places alone. And some of those things are common sense, you know, unfortunately. We should be able to go out wherever we want, whenever we want, wearing whatever we want. It's just not always the safest thing to do. I'm just curious, you know, how many other people watching this were like taught these things. And it's not just for women, like these are things that every human being needs to like be cautious of, you know. I'm gonna unfortunately like have to raise my son to think about certain things and to be cautious. Please be safe. Doesn't matter your sex, your gender. I want everyone to be careful and look out for one another, and I will be back soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe.